Welcome back to the Canna Connect Show, Season 2, Episode 2. I'm here with Bench Plug Benny from GrowPro Solutions, Benjamin Matsuda. We are live from CannaCon. This is what, third year coming into the Minnesota market?
Third year.
You're not new to cannabis by any means. Second generational grower, Bench Plug. Tell me where that name comes from.
Honestly, just working at GrowPro, so, I started selling a lot of benches, started plugging people up with their whole grows and from start to finish.
Yes.
So it was kind of synonymous. And then my boys started calling me, hey, Bench Plug Benny.
Yeah.
And then it started to, just catch on. So it became my Instagram handle.
GrowPro, that's right. Bench Plug Benny on Instagram. GrowPro sells benches, but they sell a lot more than that. What is a bench plug?
I mean, it's someone who's going to set you up from your top and bottom, from the floor.
Yes.
So about going into grows, a lot of these spots that we build out now, it's full construction as well.
Right.
So GrowPros is about providing solutions.
Right.
We started as a lighting and racking manufacturer.
Right.
Right. In the top light world and all LEDs.
Traditional LEDs as we know it these days. But the company just grows and grows and grows, huh?
Yeah.
Because you're providing solutions, which is the right way to approach clients.
Yes, sir.
Hey everybody, Stephen with Canna Connect, taking a quick minute to shout out today's sponsor, CEE. That is the Center for Energy and Environment. If you're not familiar with CEE, they're your one-stop shop for all lighting rebates. If you are in XL Energy territory and you're a micro business, CEE is somebody that you need to talk to. Give Brad a call, give Tony a call, go online, one-stop shop, LED lighting rebates. They'll help take care of up to 60% of the costs associated with your grow and your build-out with the lighting. Really nice people, great people to work with, huge sponsors of Canna Connect, and give them a shout. That's CEE, Center for Energy and Environment.
Yeah, so our CEO, John, started in the, commercial LED industry.
Okay.
Then he stepped down, sold his shares from that. Then he started GrowPro. So his family was always like synonymous with weed the whole time, So
Wow.
think, he's growing and making regular LED fixtures and they're like, yo, I need grow lights. I need grow lights. I need grow lights.
Yes.
And he's like, no, trying to, stay on the straight and narrow. And he was like, used to be in weed and used to be in cannabis and then fully got his life, into the CEO world. And so he was always like, no.
Right.
And then it came full circle. He stepped down, sold his shares, of his company that he was the CEO of for the LED commercial lighting.
Right.
And started GrowPros with his manufacturing experience.
Okay.
The first 2 years, he then went and he grabbed his other partner who was at the LED facility with him, and they did all the manufacturing. So then he grabbed his partner who did all the manufacturing.
Yeah.
Our guy, Jackie, right? We call him Dragon. And, he's the best. He's the best manufacturer in the LED space, honestly, in the world.
Right.
And I deal with all of them and we have dealt with all of them. So the first 2 years was us contract manufacturing, like everybody else. We were white labeling, building the whole brand. Yeah. Just sourcing lights from everybody else.
Yeah.
Then we saw the volatility of the market and how dangerous that is, with the no QA, QC, you not being able to make changes fast that your boys are asking for.
Right.
So then John took all of his money once again and doubled down. And he bought 2 floors of our manufacturing. And so, we say we are the manufacturer, but we own 2 floors of our manufacturing. We employ the employees. We source all the raw material. We're literally doing the plastic molding. We're doing the whole assembly with our team, our employees, our QA, QC oversight, right? So that's what really separates us from the industry, right? And then being able to control those price points and then also being able to make fixtures that fit into these boxes for rebates,
Yes. What all goes into a cultivation facility from GrowPro's perspective? Like, where do you like to start when a cultivation facility is coming online?
I like to start from the design, from the MEP standpoint, right?
Yeah.
So we now do MEPs in-house, mechanical engineering and plumbing designs.
Okay.
We'll also do the architecture design as well.
Right.
Get them all stamped. We do all 50 states.
Right.
Right. So we can get a state stamped in any state.
Okay.
Then off of that, we were able to build all your quotes out, right? And then our partners like Grow Generation, right? Who are a public IPO company, they're able to source all the consumables. They're able to source everything at such a cheap price, even for dehumidifiers, XYZ, right? Yeah. We also sell HVAC in-house, whether we use our partners at GrowGen or we use our own in-house at Daikin, whatever, right? Yeah. We will source the client with whatever HVAC solutions they want. Yep. Right? Whether it be as crazy as Easy Roots or it be as simple as Daikin. So we're handling everything in between: train carrier, 4-pipe hydronic with Jesse Porter, fully integrated system. So we started to, fully encompass the solutions. Yeah. So we like to start in the beginning phase, quote everything out, and, we will do the construction. We have our GC license in-house as well. Wow. So our other partner, Jack, there's Jack and Jackie.
Okay.
Our other partner, Jack, he's a CFO.
Okay.
And he has his GC license and has had it for the last 10 years.
Wow.
Right. And it wasn't really being utilized. And we were doing Grow Pros as a manufacturer.
Right.
And we got tired of waiting on all these other general contractors,
right.
you know, just to be able to get our lights and benches in these clients' facilities.
So that's where Grow Pros Construction comes into the mix?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Every company we started, it was really because we got tired of waiting on somebody else.
Yes. You know, one thing I noticed within the cannabis industry, and I've noticed this even back in the hemp side of the industry, as we, you know, that's where Minnesota kind of got its start with the CBD side of things. But like ultimately, every company aims to become more vertically integrated.
Yes.
I noticed that. And I don't think that's unique to cannabis as it is to, you know, just it allows you to control your costs, your timing, your employees, things like that, which I think Grow Pros does an excellent job at.
And your client success.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you're able to look at the operation more holistically versus just serving one aspect and having to fit in, right? It's like when the 5 Power Rangers come together and then they're able to create a much larger transformer type, you know, machine. And that to me, I think is an example. I think Grow Pros is a great example of understanding that even on the ancillary side, it pays to be vertically integrated. And you guys aren't afraid of putting your brand out there. I think that's one thing that I really respect from Grow Pros as a brand is that you're very aligned when you're outward facing. It's not just internally where you're connected, but you're also externally pumping up all aspects of the Grow Pros brand. But I think it's interesting when you compare vertically integrated facilities and vertically integrated ancillary companies and how at the end of the day, it pays to be vertically integrated if you can afford it and if you're organized enough. Talk a little bit about the success you've seen with vertical integrated operations from a client side.
Yeah. I mean, guys that are able to run their whole facility all the way from, you know, seed and genetics all the way through retail, right?
Yeah.
It's the most important because as you know, you're handing away margins every single time.
Sure.
Right.
Right.
And whether it's beneficial for you because of deal velocity or whether it's beneficial for you to just do it in-house to then speed up deal velocity if that starts to slow you down and also be able to control the margin and your client success, right? Yeah. It's very important. And so when it comes to, you know, cultivation, guys that don't have to go source genetics from other places, right? And don't have to know whether, you know, if they have a viroid or they're clean or dirty, right? Yeah. That's going to be the beginning of it. And then into cultivation, if you're not having to source labor, you have a community that you can trust. Yeah. That brings your price per pound down, right? Yeah. Of you having to cultivate. Even you having in-house trim teams, labor, XYZ, right? Yeah. That's some of the difference. The differences we were talking about that night with like minority communities, honestly, with non-minority communities, right? Because the sad part is like the non-minority communities, a lot of them treat it just like a Chad type business, right? But then that makes their price per pound so high to then cultivate, right? If you're having to source all this labor, everything outside, externally. Whether if it's my cousin, my little brother, my family, my grandma, my auntie trimming for me. Sure. Right. And it's a whole community and doing the labor, the de-leafing, the transplant. That also brings your price per pound down.
Bought in at a.
And then those guys honestly have had other businesses, right? And so they know, you know, how to source products, right? How to, you know, where to go to the right guys and not be white labeled, how to find the manufacturer. And then with us, like how to source whole containers at one time, right? So they're sourcing their grow. And then once you get to a container standpoint with me, it becomes cheaper, right?
Yeah. And you're talking about a container full of parts, a container full of equipment. Yeah. Talking about when you see online when Grow Pros is shipping out semi-trucks full of products.
Yeah. And even those ones that you see me post online, those are coming out of our warehouse. That's everything out of our stock.
Right, that's stock. That's where you keep finished goods.
That's no big projects. All the big projects are coming directly from our manufacturing, touching port, then they're going straight to the client.
Shipping straight to the client.
Instagram doesn't see them till the client's posting it arriving.
Right, Port Authority doesn't run with Grow Pro's Instagram account.
You know, and then so all those trucks you always see me post, that's just stock.
That's right. Those are calls from. Now that's something I wanted to talk about is how a company can scale up with Grow Pros, right? You know, Minnesota is in the nascent stage, very early on. We've got about 240 total licenses approved right now through the OCM. Yep. How do folks get started with Grow Pros and how can you offer scaled up solutions? Because not everyone is ready to do a full build out with Grow Pros, right? So let's talk about Doc Dabs, for example, a friend of the show. So like, how does a micro get started with Grow Pros?
Yeah, shout out to Dr. Dabs, you know. He was also, I believe he's in Excel territory, right? So he was able to utilize our friends at CEE.
Sure.
And utilize those lighting rebates, right?
Sure.
And
lighting
so,
rebates are a huge part of purchasing from a company like GrowPros.
a huge part, right? And then also like with his under canopies, we're getting them spectrally controllable under canopies next, right? But to be able to help those guys out is to be able to utilize these programs that weren't taught to us, you know, who come from the industry, right?
Sure.
These rebate programs, a lot of these guys don't even know exist.
Yeah.
Right. And then when I'm telling them, hey, as a manufacturer for us, like, especially out here in this market, I will throw you the lights and I'll wait for the check.
Okay.
Right. I'm taking no money down.
Okay.
Right. We're just going to do paperwork. We're going to get the rebate assignment agreement done. We're going to get your pre-approval done.
Yeah.
Pre-inspection done with Tony and Brad at CEE, right? Our partners over there.
Right.
Then I'm going to send the lights. Once Brad gives me the okay, I'll send the lights.
Sure.
Right.
Once it's stamped by CE.
Yes, sir. Then we install. CE will walk through there for a post-inspection. Then they cut us a check. Yeah. Right. And it was $0 out of pocket the whole time. Wow. Right. For the client. That's amazing. We're cutting $300,000 to $500,000 off of their lighting bill. Yeah. Off their pro forma, their business plan. Right. Right. So then it's like, what does that help these clients and these micros be able to do with operational costs at that point? Right. Because it sucks, you know, lighting may be your second or third biggest cost in the facility outside of, you know, HVAC, rent, labor, things like that. But as just equipment, we're probably number 2 or 3.
Why does HVAC matter so much?
HVAC, VPD is king. You know, I'm a lighting and racking, you know, manufacturer, and I'll say this right now, HVAC and VPD is king. Vapor pressure deficit is, you know, the tip of the triangle. For us, it's all about a triangle, right? Right. And every point of that triangle has 2 sides. So the top point of that triangle is VPD / airspeed. Okay. Right. Let's say another corner point would be lighting. It would be PPFD, which is how much light. Yep. Right. Photosynthetic flux density. Okay. Right. How much light, PPFD / spectrum. Then the other corner would then be volumetric water content / composition, NPK. Okay. Right. So it's VPD, airspeed, PPFD, and spectrum, and then VWC / composition, NPK. Wow. Right. So all of those triangles, I mean, all points of that triangle, they have to be aligned. Okay. Right. So you can't, you know, raising the, you know, the PPFD if your VPD is completely off. Wow. Right. Your stomata is closed. Your plant's not going to transpire. I don't care how perfect the spectrum and the PPFD and the composition and you're hitting all your volumetric water content starting points for the day, but your plant's not going to uptake throughout the day like it's supposed to.
Where are you at as a second generation grower when it comes to managing all of these things remotely with technology versus being hands-on in the grow, observing the plants, watering the plants? And I understand there's a spectrum within this, right? Yeah. As a non-commercial grower and someone who's never had a full harvest by any means. So like there's a lot of technology in the space. Where do you land when it comes to automation versus hands-on?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to lean towards automation always, right? But I'm also the generation that grew up with it, right? So it's different when I saw the, you know, like the OGs and all the older guys and all my, you know, all my mentors growing, and the sensors came out and they had no sensors. But they were so good at feel. They were so good at driving those plants and their systems for 20 years.
They had a knack for it.
They had a knack for it, but it's still not optimal, right? But they were driving safely. They never crashed. They were driving the car with no headlights is what I like to say.
Driving the car with no headlights. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And so they're driving the car with no headlights, but they haven't crashed. Right. Yeah. But they might drive slow. They might drive not as fast as they could.
Doesn't mean it's a good car.
Doesn't mean it. And then let's say you add sensors now. Okay. Right. Sensors. Now you have the floodlight on top. Now you have your headlights and you're able to see. Yeah. Right. And you're able to actually see what's going on in real time. It's never going to replace the touch and feel. As we know, sensors can be off all the time. And I have this. And now I believe the new problem, so that was the first problem of like the early 2020s, is getting everybody onto sensors.
Like Internet of Things, connectivity within the cultivation.
Getting everybody onto sensors, learning crop steering, right? Right. All different forms of it, right? Irrigational, VPD, and spectrum crop steering, right? So then learning those different forms of crop steering, that was the early 2020s. Then after that, I truly believe that people got too reliant on sensors. Yep. Right. And then everybody believed that they could just run their grows from computers. Yeah. And their 4 and 1 is off. Right. And they think they're in VPD. Maybe their temperature's off a couple degrees and their humidity's off a couple %. Okay. Right. But now let's say you look at your CCMS, you look at your TrollMaster, you look at your controller, and you think that you're at, you know, Flyer's supposed to be at 1.0 to 1.3. You're like, okay, I'm at a 1.25. I'm good. and you walk through the room and maybe you're not doing all your checks like you're supposed to, you're just checking your Troll Master from online, right? But virtually shutting the door and walking away. This happens to guys who are even in the facility. Look at the Troll Master, shut the door, walk away, right?
Yeah.
But then, oh, they see everything is saturated, but they could be at a 1.25 on the Troll Master, but really be at a 1.6. And now they're 6 weeks in and they were never in VPD the whole time. Wow. Right? And they're like, why do my plants look like this? X, Y, Z.
Right.
Then you walk in with a handheld and you see that everything's off.
Yep.
And you're like, well, you've been out of VPD for 6 weeks.
Right.
Right.
You can't rely 100% on technology. Or you have measure twice, cut once. So you've got to be careful.
As my grandma says, right?
Okay.
And even talking about like volumetric water content, you know, you think things are at saturation or X, Y, Z and the sensor's off and you go lift the plant up and it's bone dry, right? Or vice versa. You know, it's usually vice versa. You think it's, you know, you're good, but it's actually, you know, a little bit too under, it's a little too oversaturated, right? And you're pushing too hard in your first 21 days. And so that's the problem with people that are relying on sensors too much.
What were you doing before Grow Pros?
I was managing cultivations. I was the director of cultivations in Oklahoma.
Okay.
I was working for my cousin Derek at Planta.
Okay.
You know, and then before that, I was running a 200,000 square foot automated greenhouse up in California and Sacramento.
Wow.
So we had, you know, multiple managers. You know, there's a director of cultivation above me.
Yeah.
And then I believe there's like 130 employees. So that was like me getting my PhD and learning it. And then I just went off into the real world and stopped making money for everybody else. You know?
Sure. Hey, speaking of PhDs, what can you talk about when it comes to the University of Minnesota and the Minnesota cannabis industry here?
I think you guys are setting the whole market and you guys have been ahead of it for 3 years and nobody knows. Honestly, Professor Alens, you know, at University of Minnesota, Jordan B over there, you know, everybody, Dr. Dabbs, Clement Dabney.
Yeah.
You know, we even have Brian
Jones.
Everybody who's been involved in that from the beginning.
Yeah.
It honestly gives me goosebumps on how far ahead they are. I have spectrum controllable greenhouse lights that we've been testing for the last year and a half.
Yeah.
Over there, and we made a 4-channel greenhouse light to see what pairs best with the sun. Because I don't care what, you know, and per time of year as well. That's why it has to be spectrum controllable.
Okay.
So then it's going to connect to the Lassie system, the, you know, longitude shade integrated system. And then so it tracks where the sun angle is per your longitude and latitude.
Okay.
Then, you know, you having sensors in that greenhouse and being able to adjust per canopy.
Okay.
Because I don't care how perfect that light spectrum is when you throw it up in the greenhouse.
Right.
What is it at canopy after the sun washes it out?
So you've got indoor cultivation, outdoor cultivation, you've got greenhouse in the middle. What have you seen from a success standpoint? Is there room for all 3 markets in California, in Oklahoma, in Minnesota? Is that true across state to state markets? And break it down for me a little bit. Like some folks say greenhouse is the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
So how does Grow Pro lighting work within a greenhouse space?
So all of our trials that we're working on right now, right? But then we also have greenhouse fixtures that have, you know, controllable red. I just dropped a new greenhouse fixture. Actually right now we're making a prototype.
Wow.
I have a client in California with 1 million square feet of greenhouses. And I made my first prototype for him. We tested it. He wanted to make some tweaks to the spectrum.
Yeah.
And then I just tweaked the spectrum and sent him the first the second prototype again.
So it's a lot about dialing in, huh? You're very receptive to your client's feedback.
Have to be, you know, and it's like the guys that don't listen, like I love the feedback, right? Because a lot of guys don't like it because they'll get all defensive and, you know, internalize it because they can't make a change. The biggest thing about me is I can literally walk out of this meeting and hop on the phone with China right now. What's nighttime over there, but I'll wake them up, you know, and hop on the phone with Dragon, you know, and Jackie over there, and I can make a change to our design right then and there. Sure. The next container that comes, everything can be changed, right? So like all of our top lights, they have waterproof data cables now, right? So it's like, why have all the waterproof power if the data was never waterproof, the RJ12, right? It was just like an internet plugin or a phone jack plugin, right? It wasn't waterproof, right? And so every light on the market had it like that, right? And so also with the under canopy power cord, we added fuses to the power cord. We're the only company on the market with fuses in the power cord. It's going to limit your RMAs because it's the only cord and light on the market that puts a high voltage and the low voltage in one cord, right? So it's dangerous to have 277 volts right next to a 0 to 10 volt.
Okay.
Right? Because if anything or arcs or anything happens or that connection isn't tight to the light, and that 277 jumps to the dimming, you lose control of your dimming. That's why you see the number one problem with under canopies right now. People are like, oh, I can't control the dimming. I just burnt out the light, XYZ.
Okay.
Well, we went through that, honestly. You know, we're the manufacturers like everybody else did in the industry. We've been at it for 3 years with under canopies, right? And so when this started to happen, we made the change like this. Well, now you see it's been a year and a half later, and no one else has changed. And we're trying to make this a standard. And I truly believe that this needs to be a standard in under canopy.
That's fascinating. You know, you mentioned 1 million square feet. Minnesota, majority of licensees are in the micro category, which is 5,000 square feet. Right now, I mean, that's just a crazy difference right there.
Right.
Like, you know, we'll try to keep names out of it. I mean, you know, micro business, 5,000 square feet versus like glass house farms in California. Like right now it works because it's a state-by-state market, but you're traveling internationally. You've got business in multiple countries. For the short term, we're safe. You know, cannabis isn't legally allowed to move across state lines. But like, what are you seeing internationally? You've been to Berlin, you've been to Spain this year. So you've been to Germany, you've been to Spain this year. What are you hearing? What's different on the international level versus on the local level, like when you're at a market like this?
I think everyone's late. So America's sitting back right now. America's been sitting back and they've been watching the whole market, the whole international market figure it out for them. Right. And I mean, this can be my American bias, and I'll say this, but I truly believe that when this drops internationally and when we do start exporting, it's going to be like cannabis comes from America. Weed comes from everywhere else. It's going to be like champagne, right? It's champagne only if it comes from Champagne, France. It's sparkling wine if you buy it anywhere else.
Absolutely.
Right? You can buy the same thing, but it's not champagne, right? So I think
California has had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, and America in general, right? Like OGs come from Florida, all of America. Hayes is in the East Coast, XYZ, all the way through, right? But California definitely has their stamp on it. Of the cool culture, right? And it's still being ran, and you see it as a guiding post internationally. People are still running up to asking about Planta, asking about Doja, asking about Backpack Boys, right? And so they're like still, Wizard Cheese willing to play that $500 an ounce, 600 euro an ounce, right?
High-end Zaza, as it's been known as.
It's the leading point for the whole market in the world right now.
Sure.
Honestly, for how long? That's the question. I think we do have a gap, maybe a 5-year run when we enter. So the rest of the world catches up.
But what about Canada? Do you guys deal in Canada?
Yeah.
Because Canada is able to ship out of the country.
And this is where it's a great point you brought up glass house, right? I think internationally, this is where it saves us in our markets and our micros. I think coming back from Germany, you have 2 markets. Well, you do. Come back from Germany, you have 2 markets. You have the social clubs, which are able to sell, and they're able to grow, but it's only 300 kg, 300 kilos a year.
Limited market, limited output.
300 kg a year per club.
That's like 660 pounds.
That's it.
Yeah.
You could do that with like 42 lights a year, something like that.
150 pounds a month.
Some shit. Yeah, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And so those guys, it's only 300 kg a year, but it's better strengths, right? It's fresh. It didn't have to get shipped from Canada and sit in Portugal and go across seas, non-environmentally controlled. Right. Then it sits in Portugal for X amount of weeks. Then it gets brought into the pharmaceutical market, right? Or it gets brought into Czech and it gets greenwashed in. Either way, however it's going into the German market, it takes time.
Sure.
So if you want something fresh, you want something that's now, and you want the good strains that the pharmaceuticals aren't just monocropping, right? You're going to have to go to Social Club and pay a little more. And it's also off the books, right? German people are very, very like within their, by the rules, right?
Ones and zeros, X's and O's.
That's it. And then, and then if you buy it from a pharmaceutical company, you have to have a license. You have to have, the medical pass, XYZ. Then it affects your health insurance, yada, yada, yada. Literally.
Truly tied into the medical system.
Right. And then, but you're able to get it for €5 a gram all the way up. And it's a lot cheaper, but it's a lot worse.
Because it's at a higher scale.
Right. But this is what I go back to America. This is what I believe.
Stick around.
Mr. Cool Guy. This is what I believe is that it's going to go to 2 markets in America. You're going to have, for the short term, I think the big guys are going to be the first ones to go DEA, the DEA readiness program. They're going to be exporting through FDA or whatever, right? They're going to
Pure Leaf, True Leaf.
Glass House,
Verona.
I think that stabilizes some of the markets. Because Glass House right now, obviously, let's be real, they grow enough weed to supply the whole California market.
Right.
Okay. But now once you're able to take those big players out and let them go export,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
What happens to those markets?
Allows for more room for more growth.
I think so, for a little bit, at least a little bit. And then I use the women's soccer analogy, right? Like, let's be real, the U.S. women's team is only so good because our girls have been able to play sports here.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
They're
Yes.
able to play sports, and we have the feeder programs all the way through.
Absolutely.
That's why we're #1 in the world.
Absolutely.
But then it's like any other sport. What happens when Africa starts letting their girls play soccer? What happens to all these other places?
More training.
Okay. I think that we have a little run on cannabis.
Okay, I see.
And I just got back from Germany, and I'm telling you, the average home grower is smarter than 70% of the commercial cultivators I sell to.
Right.
The average home grower.
Right.
I'm talking spreadsheets, tracking data points. I'm talking tracking node counts during flip, tracking inches during stretch, tracking millimeter size during bulk. Like, they have it on.
They're
everything.
engaged. They're passionate. They care.
They care. And then you go to guys that are running multi-million-dollar businesses for other people. They're I don't know, have a spreadsheet.
You've seen that in real life.
I see it every day.
We were talking about home grow a little bit. It's not a CEE program, but XL Energy actually has lighting rebates for home grow cultivation. And let's tap in a little bit. GrowPros has some light options for home grow.
Yes, sir.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So we have multiple lights that would fit into that home grow market, right? I mean, all of our entry lights would fit very well into that CE residential program.
Yes. Yes.
Then we also have a home grow company as well. So we have a loofah.
Okay.
A loofah is a very cost-efficient top light under canopy. We do multiple top lights and under canopies for the home grower, though.
Okay.
Right. So this is another thing, is I believe that every home grow company started in home grow and then try to go attack the commercial space.
Sure.
Right. We all come from commercial cultivation.
Yeah.
We come from commercial manufacturing.
Yeah.
Then we went and we attacked that market. We believe we're top 3 in every single one of our categories that we're in, right?
Okay. Yep.
Then we're giving that same exact expertise and that quality back to the home grower. Instead of trying to rip them off and make our money off the home grower and go and attack the commercial market, we started in commercial market, and we had to go be competitive in price points and XYZ. And we cut our teeth in it for 6 years as a company.
Wow.
Right? I've only been here for 3, but John has had GrowPros for 6 years and built this company.
Okay.
Right? And then finally 6 years later, 5.5, we sit back and we give a company back to the commercial grower at a very affordable price point.
Wow.
That's the
cool.
story of a loofah, you know?
What's the culture like inside of GrowPros? And how unique is it to any other cannabis company that you've been a part of?
It's, it permeates from the top down, man. I mean, I work for the hardest working CEO that there is in the whole industry.
Wow.
You know, my partner, I'm blessed to call him my partner, not my boss anymore, but my partner, John, honestly, like him, my other partner, Jack, and Jackie, the 3 partners, and Chuck.
Yeah.
I have 4 partners in the company, and those guys work harder than anybody I know in the whole industry.
You can tell you guys are online all times.
And it's about being there for a cultivator. When your room goes out at 2 a.m., right? Who can you call? That really matters. Right. And then like, even we sell electronics, shit happens, right?
Right.
But then how is your RMA process? How is your warranty process?
Right.
How fast can you take care of me?
Right. Uptime, keeping people online.
Am I making you wait 15 weeks to send something to China, and then 15 weeks to send it back, or go through this whole long warranty process and then still make you wait another 10 weeks? Like, no. We're taking care of our guys because we understand that they have live plants in their facility.
Absolutely. And when it comes to a new market like Minnesota, we're not going to be the new market forever, but like, what's your approach to tapping in? How do you enter in a new market?
Invest time.
Yeah.
Time, friendships, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that become brotherhoods.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, bro, like, I've been coming out here for 3 years.
Yeah.
When I came out here 3 years ago, nobody was ready. And I fought this fight for 3 years with you guys, you know, and it's like, I started a business out here as well. I have my partner, John Steinbach, out here, right?
Yeah.
Within our group, we have a plethora of licenses.
Yeah.
Transportation, we have manufacturing, we have extraction, we have retail, we have cultivation.
Wow.
Right. So then out here, we're doing everything on that on my own, you know, Benjamin's personal time, right? But coming into this market for 3 years, I fought the fight with you guys, and I've seen and literally had the friendships of guys thinking that they're going to get online in a month 2 months, 6 months.
Yeah.
And then, oh, OCM 1 year, this, that,
Right.
licenses don't come out. Next thing you know, it's a year and a half.
Right.
Mesos are putting money into fighting the micros to not come out. Let's touch on that, right? You guys are like, let's be honest, you guys are supposed to have a 2-year head start on micros.
Yeah.
You know, micros are supposed to have a 2-year head start.
Yes. Yes.
Right? And lobbying and money and XYZ pushed it back.
They stayed the lottery, which went from a November. It was supposed to, licenses were supposed to come out in November. They didn't come out till May of the next year. That they threw the whole thing off because you're supposed to grow the plant before you sell the plant.
And then they open up, then this is what they do to your market. Then they open up all the retail first.
Right?
Right?
So they become hemp-derived gummy stores with tribal flower.
And low quality, right? And low COA testing and long testing times, XYZ, right?
No real lab. I mean, a couple labs, but not enough.
You know, and then the micros are allowed to come online, and how long, right? And everybody comes online, all the retails. The micros are just now starting to build out, and you have mesos that are already done.
Yeah, a couple, right? I mean, every market has its issues. The saving grace, I say, is that at least the Minnesota market never stopped.
And never stopped.
And so it's the grinders that are willing to invest time month in, month out to not lose tabs and not lose momentum, because it's a little bit of slow and steady wins the race. Like, you got to have a good turtle in this race because it is a slow pace. But how quickly do you think things will change? We're summer of 2026 right now. Like, what do the next couple of years look like for Minnesota?
I think people are saying 2 years of a high market. I don't see that. I personally don't. I see this market probably, and it's going to be a hard and fast crash, I believe, and it's sad. So like the pro formas that are built right now at 4,000 a pound, they're not safe.
Right.
They're not safe.
Right.
Right. So these guys that think they're going to be making this for X amount of years or time, look what happened to Boston. Right. Look what happened to all of Mass. It was the fastest falling market in the country.
Wow.
Right. Like this.
Yeah.
It went from the same thing, 5,000 a pound down to 2. Right. And then so what happens is, I think that there's going to be compression in the market.
Yeah.
That always happens. These guys are going to get online. Then the other scary thing is I see a lot of places out here that are being built with millions of dollars, and they're like, hey, this is my best friend I've been buying weed from since I was in 6th grade or whatever.
Let's put him in charge.
And he's been growing 6 plants for me the whole time. Right. And you think that guy that's been growing 600 or 600 plants is going to be able to go grow 60,000 plants or 6 million plants a year.
Right. The 10x, 100x, 1000x, it doesn't scale up. So like, what makes a great director of cultivation? Like, how much experience do you need to go from at home, underground to above ground, all the lights on?
I think the difference of a director of cultivation is, I need to be able to see your business plans. I need to be able to see your cultivation plans, your labor plans, your data tracking sheets, your R&D sheets. What R&Ds are you running? I need to be able to see all of your data.
Yeah.
Then I don't care if you're tracking it. What changes have you made off of that?
Yeah,
right?
You got informed decisions.
I know guys that track a lot of data and make no changes.
I see, you run with the tagline, data rules everything around me. How do you utilize data within your role at GrowPros?
And it's all about, for me, it's markets. It's, what are the most advantageous, what's building out, what's hot. Obviously staying on top of our sales team on their own KPIs, right?
Yeah.
Then it's within the data of our marketing side. Like I'm wearing 4 or 5 hats right now.
Okay.
I help run our internal rebate side, right? I run our sales. I run the wholesale side of GrowPro Solutions.
Yeah.
Then I'm helping in the construction side, partnered in the media company. So, all of those companies, it's all about the data.
Right.
For me to be able to get that 10,000 foot view.
Yeah.
And help those guys be able to make the changes, right?
Right. So, I mean, on Instagram, you're easy to find. How else can folks get in touch with you if they want to connect with GrowPros?
Benjamin at wegrowpros.com.
Yeah.
wegrowpros.com.
Right.
We're not hard to find. Instagram, Twitter,
Absolutely.
Facebook.
Yep.
I'm around.
Absolutely.
You find Steven from Canna Connect, I'll be somewhere close.
Words of advice for the Minnesota listener right now, whether they're on the grow side, the dispensary side. It's 2026. They've been in this fight for a while, right? I've been in the market, paying attention to the market since 2019. We just were talking to Jim from Strains of the Earth. I remember when he had a shop inside the mall 7 years ago, and now he's, you know, getting ready to put his cultivation up. Like, you've seen a lot of markets. You're not unfamiliar with Minnesota. Like, what's the word to the wise when it comes to where we're at right now?
Plan your business plans at half of probably whatever you're quoting.
Sure.
Right. And then also the number one thing for Minnesota is I would attach that license as fast as I can to an address. As soon as you can. There's a lot. So out here, as you know, all the licenses were let out after they sued the state.
Yep.
But you got a year and a half or something to make it operational.
Yep.
OCM will give you that extension. I know guys that are ready to just give up right now. But I also know guys that are attaching their licenses to outdoor plots, attaching their licenses to something that's easy to go get.
Yeah.
Don't lose that license, guys.
Right.
Work towards it every single day.
Right. It's valuable.
It's valuable. Continue to find that plan. The fact that you have that license, you're going to be kicking yourself in the ass in 10 years if you lose it.
Sure. Sure. What do you have to say about Case God?
Case God. I mean, he's a blessing in my life, honestly, man. He's a positive influence of just energy, bro. And what he does for us in Grow Pros, not only on the energy side, but the marketing, the media marketing. And then I'll cut this. We just had a fire Case God.
All right.
Just had a fire Case God.
Wow.
And same day, we had to hire him as CEO.
On the media side.
Yes, sir. So that's what started our other company, right?
Cool.
We got tired of waiting on everybody else.
Yep.
Like I say, with all these companies.
Yep.
We go find the right guy.
Right.
Put him in position and give him the reins. And like John did with me, give him the steering wheel and let him drive.
Yeah. You're a puzzle guy. You like to see the pieces and how they fit together.
Yeah.
I like to say we turn stars into constellations.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. That's it. You know, being able to surround yourself with great people is the only thing that's going to make you better.
Right. We appreciate your support.
I love you, brother.
It's been fun being every time we get a little closer. Every time we dial it in a little bit more. We got Grow Pro Solutions officially on Canna Connect Season 2. Benjamin Matsuda, aka Benchplug Benny. Find him on Instagram. Reach out to him. Very approachable. Very easy to find. Grow Pros is doing great work in the community. Much love, bro.
Thank you. Much love. We have our after party tonight.
Yes, this isn't live, so we're not going to plug it too hard, but look for the official recap coming soon. Grow Pros and Canna Connect. We're in the building.